Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast. I'm Jason Abrams, and this is the place where we lift the curtain on the world of real estate like never before. Every week, I sit down with visionaries, pirates, and mavericks. We're here to document, demonstrate, and most importantly, demystify their game-changing models and systems. What secrets propel them to the top? And how are they living their dreams? This is about passion, it's about strategy, but above all, it's about real, tangible success. So buckle up and let's dive in. This is the Millionaire Real Estate Agent Podcast. Hey friends, welcome to the show. This just in, late breaking news, a bulletin. The internet is here to stay. I know, it turns out this thing is not a fad. I am as surprised as you are. But you know who's not surprised? Daniel Dixon. Daniel Dixon is not surprised. Here's a real estate agent hailing from the Denver metro area. We're talking 220 units plus every year for more than $115 million in volume. Now, what makes this so unique? Daniel is an internet lead generation guru. And how does he know how to play? Well, friends, he started his career selling leads to real estate agents when he worked at Trulia. He then looked up and realized how much money there was in satisfying the client. They say it's the final mile, and decides to become a real estate agent. He's going to unpack for us, how do you create squeeze pages that ultimately lead to internet leads? Then what do you do with the internet leads once you've created them? Then how do you move them through the process so they ultimately become clients? And most importantly, he's going to tell us how he provides unique value and service. Friends, buckle up. This is Daniel Dixon. Daniel, how are you, sir?
I'm great this morning, man. How are you?
I am fantastic. Dude, I'm a fan of yours between the podcast and the real estate team, and I just watched you on stage in front of 7,000 people. I love what you're doing, man.
I appreciate it, Jason. It's a pleasure to be on here, and every time I talk to you, I always feel a little bit smarter, so I'm excited.
In this case, you're going to make us smarter. So I want to go all the way back, though. Before we get into what you're doing that's crushing it, I want to start kind of at the beginning. So what was your journey into the greatest industry in the world?
Yeah, so I kind of got in this by accident. So I read this crazy book called Rich Dad, Poor Dad when I was 18. So I was always interested in the real estate space, investing, multifamily, housing, property management, that kind of thing. And when I was in Denver, I just moved to Denver from California, and my brother was working for this crazy startup called Trulia, and knew nothing about really being an agent, never really wanted to be an agent, but started working for this company doing internet lead generation. And so as we got into understanding internet marketing, internet lead generation, calling agents across the country, pitching why digital marketing is more important than print marketing, and started realizing a niche in this industry that was new. And so I started understanding how to coach agents, train agents on where to spend their marketing budgets, how much to spend, what to say when they start talking to clients, and then realized, I looked up about a year and a half later, top producer there, and I'm like, man, I'm going to go do this. We're just going to generate a ton of leads. We're going to convert at a really high clip. And then we're going to continue to grow in this industry.
Man, you've really watched the internet kind of grow up around you. But even before that, I want to go back, if I can, before 19. Most of us read these books, and Kiyosaki's book was great, by the way, and that it just simply gets us to think differently. What was going on in your life prior to that, and how were you thinking about wealth?
Oh, wealth wasn't even a discussion. So I grew up with a single mother of 3 kids. I always say we never had much in our life from a financial aspect, but I always had love. My mom's my best friend, my biggest supporter. Every sporting event that I was at that she was driving me around to, she was constantly robbing from Peter to pay Paul. So survival was more of an instinct that we learned more than wealth building or understanding finances or saving or really any of those things now, you know?
So what was it about Kiyosaki's book at 19 that you read? What stayed with you? What was your aha?
We were serial renters our entire life. We never owned anything. And so when I started understanding this concept of equity and you can buy something and live in it and it grows in value and you pay it off. It was such a new concept to me that I was completely intrigued. And that kind of started down that path on, okay, now you have this multifamily stuff too. And you have not just one door, but multiple doors that you can own. The industry was so deep. There's so many different facets to it. I kind of started falling in love with every piece of it. Property management. My first big boy job was a loan officer in California. So I understood every piece of it. And I wish I could say I planned this out, but the last piece to the puzzle was becoming an agent. And then everything kind of came together.
You know, I was reading an interesting article that was in the Times over the weekend, and it was talking about this Fanatic renters, this generation that doesn't own anything. I mean, they're renting the clothing they wear to work.
Yeah.
They're renting the place that they live. They're renting their furniture. They rent a car from Turo. They don't own one. And this idea of owning versus renting is kind of becoming a hot topic again for some reason.
For some reason. I mean, for us, we were constantly moving. Rents would increase. My mom couldn't afford it. Got to go get a new apartment. We'll be a little vulnerable with you, Jason, but I tell this story when people talk about credit. I'd be with my mom and she'd go fill out an application for whatever it was, a car, an apartment, and we'd cross our fingers and just see what happens. And that was my normal in life. I still have this anxiety when I fill out an application nowadays, even though credit's great and I have all the things, but there's still that sense of anxiety on what are they going to say? Like, what happens next? So I wanted to get out of it and create stability as soon as I possibly could in my life. And that's what owning has given me.
This must lead to a tremendous amount of apathy when you talk to first-time buyers or even anybody who's going through the process.
Yeah, 100%. And with a lot of these people, you have more protections being a homeowner than you do being a renter. You know, the foreclosure process takes a lot longer than the eviction process. So if we hit hard times, we're safer if we own real estate versus if we were those habitual renters.
So when you come out, your brother gets the job at Trulia, you start to understand this internet's not a fad, it turns out. It's going to be a thing. Do you start having success right out of the gate as a new agent?
Yeah, and I did not know how to write a contract. I'm working at Trulia selling zip codes, and I'm taking my lunch break and writing contracts to put people under contract, leave the job.
Okay, hang on a second, because I didn't understand that you worked at Trulia. So you are part of the companies that call and sell quote unquote leads to real estate agents.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Our people are going to love this. They're literally swerving in their Range Rovers right now, Daniel. What's that like when you wake up every day to try to sell things to real estate agents at that time in your life?
It was one of the most challenging. I would much rather sell to consumers than sell to real estate agents.
And did you believe in what you were selling? Because the reality of it is if you have something that you literally think can change someone's life, and you're calling hundreds of people, you got to be pulling your hair out saying, okay, I have the Holy Grail here. Why are you saying no to me? Is that how you felt?
Oh, without a doubt. And our industry takes so long to create changes. And now I think the changes are happening very rapidly. But at the time in 2013, 2014, like agents, they were hesitant with internet marketing. They were hesitant to meeting a stranger that clicked on a button online. And I think what it's conditioned me to do is work with the engaged. Because you can send direct mail out, but you don't necessarily know who's engaged or who's going to be transacting anytime soon. But now when someone clicks a button online and maybe they want to see the house, or maybe they just have some questions about the process. Now we're prompting more real estate conversations with people that are interested, which helps our conversion happen a lot faster and help us sell more homes really fast. I mean, within the first 4 years of me being an agent, we built a $100 million team with 90% of all of that business being internet leads.
So how do I go and take internet leads and turned them into raving clients and fans? Tell me exactly how to do that.
Well, we've always been conditioned where we've all heard speed to lead, speed to lead, speed to lead. And I think our industry is transitioning to speed to value and speed to relationship. Well, how do we build a quicker relationship with clients? And you come from a place of contribution and provide value. And so now with this NAR settlement and like the buyer value is like the biggest thing that everyone's talking about right now. And it's the biggest opportunity for us to win. So step one is, well, when you think about having an internet lead marketing funnel, it's a numbers game. A pay-per-click lead converts at 0.5% to 1%, meaning you've got to generate 100 of them before you can have one closing. So it's understanding the funnels and the process and the systems that you have in place to be able to get these people in, find the engaged or the motivated, what we call transaction ready now, and then be able to service those people at a high level. So it's having the system set up the right way and then turning the faucets on to be able to start pointing the leads to you.
Okay, I love that. So unpack it for me. Tell me exactly how to do it. By the way, friends, you don't have to take notes. As you know, I'm taking the notes because you're driving around in Teslas. No problem. You can get the notes at MREAnotes.com, MREAnotes.com. They come out every Thursday. All right, Daniel, I'm sitting there and I'm thinking of tipping my toe in the water for internet lead gen. How do I go build out the systems?
First thing you need is a CRM. And what CRM you need is just whatever one that you're going to actively use. You've got to be able to communicate, to track, to set reminders, to follow up. The thing about internet leads and internet lead conversion is speed to lead is important, but the value is in everything else. The top of the funnel, the right now, that 1% conversion I'm talking about, that 1 out of 100 leads will transact right now, that's cool. There's still 99 others that we have the ability to go create relationships with. And if you don't have a CRM and you don't have a system in place to systematically touch them and continue to provide value for them, then you're going to lose everything else. And as agents in this industry, we've gotten so focused just on speed to lead and quickness and get the lead, show the house, write the contract, go under contract. Now we have to have a different system in place to be able to touch and create relationships with everybody in the middle.
And at the end of the day, are most of these lead engines going to be using, and maybe you can unpack the idea of forced registration, because at some point, someone actually has to enter their information to become a lead.
Correct.
How does that happen?
They call them like squeeze pages. So as soon as you go on our website, findcohomes.com, you click 3 additional times. So whether you're clicking on photos, clicking on houses, you have, I believe it's 4 clicks before they're going to prompt you with a pop-up screen. That's going to start engaging you in understanding where you're at in the journey. What size house are you looking for? How many beds? How many baths? Where are you at in your journey? Are you 1 to 3 months? Are you just searching right now? And at the very end of all of that is pushing you to put in your name, your email address, and your phone number.
So in this way, your website, if I get this wrong, tell me, it's less of a site about who you are and how you do business, and it's more optimized in order to get strangers to enter their information by providing them value. Is that right?
That is 100% right. We use our social media platforms and our Google reviews and Zillow reviews as the story of who we are and how good of a job that we do. Consumers don't want to hear about how many houses Daniel sold. They want to look at houses. And so we want to continue to provide them more and more and more houses that continue to come to market, come back on market, and customize their search to be able to capture those homes that they're looking for. Try to find the right one for them.
So this idea of a squeeze page, that's going to be some sort of an ad, whether it's on Google or social media, that gets people to click on it. That's the idea. They're squeezed. They click on it, which then takes them to your website, which then operates as a search engine of available real estate. Is that right?
It's exactly right.
Now, what are some of the tricks and keys in order to optimize it such that more people that visit my website actually become leads? What do they want?
They want to look at houses. They want to look at pictures. I think when we talk about why Zillow is the number 1 search engine, it's because there's way more people searching every day than there is the amount of houses being sold. And consumers just want to look at houses. And I think it's important for agents to understand not every lead is a referral that wants to buy right away. We're paying for contact information to allow us to have a real estate conversation. It's my team's job to go build the rapport, build the relationship, educate the consumer, and then make them comfortable enough to choose us as their agent.
I love that. So on the dollars and cents of it, I know it's all going to be ranges and it's all going to be where you are in the country, but to get someone through my squeeze page to my site, that top funnel, on average, ballpark, how much should something like that cost per person?
So we're somewhere between $8 to $12 depending on time of year. And this is important because when you think about these other lead channels, the other lead funnels, we were spending over $200 a lead for literally the same lead, the same consumer on Realtor.com. We were spending $300-$400 a month for a Zillow lead. And so our mindset changed to, okay, well, this is still the same consumer. The consumer clicking on Zillow or Realtor is no different than the consumer clicking on my site. It's just going to take more of these opportunities to find the highest intent transaction ready consumer.
So when you said earlier that you're going to get about 0.5% is going to become now business opportunity, is it safe to say that for every 200 top line leads that you create through the squeeze page, there's going to be a transaction there?
100%.
Which means that if you take the $8 to $12, and I'm going to err on the high side of it, it's going to cost me $2,400 in client acquisition cost to have a ready, willing, and able buyer that's going to close. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's very fair. And then agents understanding that you need lead time. It's not about you turn the faucets on today and you have a closing next month, because that person's still going to come in the funnel. They still need to get pre-qualified. We still got to go look at houses. We still got to go under contract. So I usually tell people, you got to give yourself a good 3 months of expecting nothing. So you're $2,400 a month for 3 months before you have anything, but what you paid for was 600 people.
I love that. Okay, so I get my CRM because I'm going to have to capture the people that I'm putting in. Then I'm going to turn on one of these lead engines, and in your average top line, $8 to $12, it's going to take about 200 of those to get to a transaction. You told me the next step is get face-to-face fast. What does that mean?
There's a sense of reciprocity when it comes to humans. And if I do something for you, oftentimes you're going to be willing to do something for me. And so rather than agents wanting to hide behind the keyboard and text everybody all the time, or just talk on the phone, there's value with getting eye to eye or breaking bread with somebody. So we teach our agents, we need to go meet them at the house. We need to do a buyer consult. We need to meet them at Starbucks for coffee. We need to do something to get face to face with the person as soon as humanly possible, so we can provide our value, we can laugh and chuckle with them, we can build rapport and do the things, because it's so much easier when you touch someone on their shoulder versus you continually calling them trying to build a relationship with a stranger over the phone.
Okay, so walk me through that. Tell me exactly how to do it, because if we're having our first conversation and I'm just someone on the internet that you don't know, am I stiff-arming you? Because are you saying, like, let's go hang out? And I'm saying, I don't even know you. I just want to go see 123 Maple Street. Like, how does that actually play out?
Well, I think with the settlements changing things a little bit with what we have to get signed prior to showing houses than it was before. But the idea now is I've got to educate you and consult you about this process. In our mind and with our team and our team merge model, it doesn't matter whether you're buying a house tomorrow or in 6 months from now. We need to meet so I can educate you about the process, educate you about the market, and help you start getting prepared to actually become a homeowner. So when we're having that kind of conversation with them, we're not looking necessarily just for the person that wants to just go show the houses, because that consumer is a little wishy-washy. Their agent may be out of town and they just want to go see 123 Maple Street. That's not our intent. We want to go build a relationship and educate our consumers to let them know why we're the best, how this process works, and what they need to understand around every corner.
So I love that. I asked you what you actually say when we were doing the pre-interview, and you said, quote, "I'd love to get together and meet in person. It would be better for us to meet at the property or at my office first." That sounds so organic when you say it like that. Does that actually work?
Yeah, it works tremendously. They just want to kind of go look at the house. The people that want to meet in the office, they want to understand the process. I wouldn't say they're a more serious home buyer, but the personality trait of that consumer, the disc profile of that consumer is just a little bit different, because now they want to slow down and understand everything and get comfortable versus I want to get out and about and start looking at houses, because we've got to understand these people have been looking at homes for an extended period of time. The thought of they just hopped online, saw a house and want to go see it. The consumer in our world, they've been looking for 3 to 6 months before they even reach out and we connect with them sometimes.
I guess I didn't think of it like that. They're further in the process than we give them credit for.
100%. This is a different age in our industry now because they have access at their fingertips. They get messages every day from whatever their favorite search portal is on the new listings that came on the market, or the home that just came back on the market, or the such and such that sold. Information's at our fingertips now. So we're silly to think that they're just starting. What they don't know is how the process works. And that's where we want to meet with them in person. They know how to look at houses and what they want. We get that. That's 100%. I'm not going to necessarily talk you into what you're going to want a 4-bedroom more so than a 3-bedroom because they get it. But what I am going to do is I'm going to show you how this process works and show you why our value and why we have over 550 5-star reviews and why this process works this particular way, what earnest money is, how the inspection phase works, more of the details and the nitty-gritty of what to expect through the process, which makes for a better transaction through and through. We have more control and they have more information, which creates a win-win for both of us.
I love that, which kind of leads into the next step, right? Which is, you told me offer real value that's unique. What does that mean?
Well, every agent wants to go show a house right now, which is fair. I mean, again, the settlement's going to change things a little bit there, but we're in the time where information is so abundant. Rates are changing rapidly. Rates are high, then they're low. Then they're the lowest they've been in the 18 months. We have down payment assistance programs. We have articles about local real estate. We have home values that are staying stagnant, but this area is growing. We have so much information where we need to be the leader of the information and of the content to our consumers. So they're not just on TikTok getting information about what's happening in the Denver real estate market. I want to be your local economist of choice. I want to be the person educating you on what to expect through this process. And we have the ability to do that. So we provide value by giving third-party stories, explaining to them how you can buy a home, your first home, with little to no money out of your pocket. Third-party stories about how we negotiate a new roof at inspection, pulling articles from the Denver Business Journal about what's happening in certain areas these people are wanting to be in addition to sometimes pulling comps on homes that recently sold to give them an idea of what is on the market, what has come on the market, what has been sold, and what those price points actually look like.
So I got my CRM, I turn on my lead engine. It's a race to get face-to-face. Then I'm offering real value that's unique. And you just gave us some wonderful examples of that. And then you said it's important to be a consultant, not a salesperson at the next step. What does that mean?
It means getting to know the person more so than just what they're looking for. Like, is this a 3-year plan for you? Is this a 10-year plan? Is this your forever home? I think we get so caught up in, again, speed. We've been conditioned over the last 6 years where everything has been fast because we have no inventory. And we've got to pivot and become more of that consultant, helping them find out what they want, asking them the right questions to help them identify what they want, more than just, hey, let's go look at these houses. You're looking for 3-bed, 2-bath in this area. Excellent. Here are options. What do you want to do? Let's go look at these ones. We've got to dig a little bit deeper and understand more of the human rather than just their search criteria.
So as the owner of the business, when you're sending your agents out to have these meetings and then they're coming back, how do you inspect what you expect in this way? How are you making sure the conversations are going deeper than bedrooms and bathrooms?
So one of the great things with our CRM and with Ylopo is we have a transcription essentially about what's happening. And so we also have a quality assurance person that calls all the people that are either in hot or pre-approved, because we want to do a mid-transaction or pre-transaction check-in to make sure that the client's getting everything that they need. So there's touch points that we have through the process to make sure that agents are doing what they should be doing, why they should be doing it, and making sure that we have a good client experience. Because what we've learned over the years, Jason, is I find out we have an issue when it's way too late and people are pissed off. So I'm like, how early can we get to understanding that there's some friction or some people are not entirely satisfied, and then jump on that grenade early before it becomes a potential complaint or a bad review, or they really don't like this agent for one reason or another?
That makes sense to me. And the next step here, you have commit to the meeting or agree on next steps. So in my mind, for the 200 top line leads that you created to get the one that's going into contract quickly, you got 199 of them that aren't. And so what happens now with those folks?
It's a really good opportunity just to make a customer service call. And I think this is the consultant versus salesperson piece. We've had to change our agents' mindsets to get away from talking about the house and going and looking at houses right now. And we've got to come from a place of just sheer contribution. Hey, Jason, this is Daniel. Hey, you'd clicked on our website a few months ago. I just wanted to check in and see if you guys are looking at purchasing a home this year, or you're planning on more for next year. More for next year. Okay, great. So what's changing next year? And we're having this conversation around what their time frame is to then identify what next step is. If this person is looking at buying next spring or summer, you don't need to push the lender on today. necessarily, depending on what their situation looks like. Now it's going to be more of, let's go evaluate what areas you guys want to be in and what value these different areas have before we can identify and go hunt for the house.
All right, dude. You and I have been friends for a long time. And so I know that the Daniel of 3 to 5 years ago wanted everything done in 7 minutes. And if it wasn't 7 minutes, you were frustrated. You sound like a monk, man. You sound like an elder statesman. You sound so at peace. What happened to you, dude? What's the journey where you're blowing my mind? How did you get to the point of a business owner where you were okay with this longer cycle? How did you arrive here?
I wish it was intentional. These past 2 years have been very, very tough for a lot of, if not everybody inside of our industry. And it's had to teach me patience. It's had to teach me reflection. It's had to teach me we're building the team and we're building the processes of the future. And we're not looking in the rearview mirror and looking what worked in 2020 or 2021, because I think those are anomalies. So now we're really having to understand, again, we're coming from a place of contribution and coming from a place of relationship building, leaning into Phil Jones and magic words. And would you be open to this? And like all of the things that really focus on relationship building rather than speed. And it's been a tough shift for our agents. We've had to let some agents go that didn't want to make the shift, that didn't want to do the work. But we're thinking about the next 3 to 5 and not the last 3 to 5. I think that's the biggest shift. It's been forced on us.
I love that. By the way, friends, if you're out there and you haven't listened to the 2 episodes we did with Phil Jones, those 2 shows, I would implore you to please go listen to those. They're fantastic tactical ways to have conversations. All right, well, so let me ask you this. If you run this every day, you wake up bringing new people into your CRM on a daily basis. And you wake up following up with the people that are already in your CRM on a daily basis. So Daniel, do you prize the new leads that you're getting or the leads that have been in your database longer? How do you think about that?
So we run a lot of different models with it. And I think it's difficult. It's a difficult balance because having the agent practice speed to lead versus relationship building, it's a different skill set. So we've really leaned into our ISAs to work on that nurture piece and then keep our agents working on the stuff right in front of them. So we have a warm transfer process with our ISAs. Agents want to work the stuff that's right now. It's difficult to teach the agents to love on the person that's 6 months out. So we've more kind of pivoted that to our ISAs to stay systematic, to have the touch points, to continue to provide value. And then once we're ready to talk to somebody that's an expert or ready to get out looking or we're ready to talk to a lender or whatnot, then now we're pivoting that and giving that to one of our agents to go right now.
So does the industry have a lead generation problem or a lead conversion problem?
A lead conversion problem for sure. And I think it's because it's so difficult and so frustrating for me to get our agents to understand the money bag is in the middle. It's not the person that wants to go right now is great, but man, there's so much opportunity in the middle. And when you think about the blue ocean theory, and everyone's hunting for the chum, which is that right now lead that's 60 days out. If we just built our business, and this is a big shift and transition we're having, if we focus now on everyone in the middle and then working on the engaged, we're buying the leads. This is going to sound crazy. As we turn lead flow back on, because we were generating so many leads for so long, we paused for the last 90 days to get a hold of everything. As we turn it back on, I'm paying for data today that's transacting in 25 and 26. I'm okay with that. So we don't need the lead that is transacting right now because I'm going to be here in 26. So we just need to get the right touch points, provide the right value, and build the relationship with them. So when they are ready, there's no question about who they're going to be working with.
You said something and you glossed over it in your brilliance. You said, we paused leads for 90 days. Okay, there's a ton of people out there that literally, they just put the top up in their Porsche convertible. Daniel, walk me through that, because I say to agents, why don't you pause your leads and work your database? And they look at me like I'm crazy and they say, but all my agents will leave if I don't give them new leads.
Yeah.
What made you pause it? What did you see that made you pause it? And then what process did you go through?
So our database, we have about 68,000 people in our database. And because I know internet lead generation and because we built a business through internet lead gen, what I didn't realize I was doing from inception was paying for contact information for people. So we have these 68,000 people that all have, or the majority of them have e-alerts, and we're sending properties constantly. We get about 30 inquiries a day, about 30 people per day that hop back on the website that have been silent over a period of time. And our agents look at those as old leads rather than going and working with the engaged. And so then it went, oh, you're only looking for the layup. Oh, you're only looking for the person that's wanting to go right now, and you don't find value in the person that's been in our database for 2 years, but just got active again. And so we had to completely reshift their mind by turning off all the lead flow to realize like, hey guys, that person that re-engages on our website is the same person that goes to realtor.com and fills out a lead form. It's the same human. There's not a more elevated human. It's the same human. So if we focus our efforts on talking to the people that are raising their hand to have real estate conversations, whether that lead came in our database 6 years ago or 30 days ago, we still need to be treating them the same and having the same conversation. So weirdly, we sell more houses now than we did 90 days ago, and we have more people in that funnel. And so when we think about turning lead flow back on, there's going to be a different way that we're going to do it, likely going just to our ISAs and not to agents, so we don't have to shift their focus at all.
Yeah, I think that's so smart. And by the way, if you're sitting out there and you're thinking 30 leads a day sounds great, let me just tell you, when you spend the last decade building the database to 68,000, you now look up and 0.5% is 30 contacts a day incoming. So you can build an incredible business over time as long as you remember this is a database-driven industry.
I never thought that. I'd heard you say that before. When I think of database, I think of sphere. And my sphere is not 68,000 people, but one thing that you've helped me realize is that database can be purchased, database can be inherited, or database can be developed through relationships. And it's an incredible concept to think about it from that way, because we've never built a sphere-based business, but now we're building a database-based business, which is not something you would have heard me say 3 or 4 years ago.
Dude, mark my words, Daniel Dixon's going to become the most wanted guy on the planet from tech providers, because half of the people listening are going to go shut their leads off for the next 90 days or 6 months and love on the people they have. Friends, ask the question. The last thing that you might need is more people to ignore. The question is are you actually ignoring the people in the database, or are you providing value to them so that you can squeeze the value out? The value you give is the value you get. Daniel, I love it, man. I think this is genius. So last question for me on this topic. If I'm going to go out tomorrow and I'm going to start all this, what's the word of warning? What's the thing that I need to be most careful of? How do I go wrong?
Oh, that's a really good question. So you have to have enough at-bats. So you've got to be able to have a big enough marketing budget to pay for enough opportunities to allow them to go into the funnel. I think that's the biggest thing. People will want to go turn on lead flow and generate 6 leads a month, 10 leads a month, and it's just not enough at-bats for you to be able to have an actual conversion. It's going to take you a while to get there. So you have to be able to think about this from a long-term perspective. This isn't, I need more transactions right now, so I'm going to turn on leads. We're already planning for 25 right now. We're not even done with 24. And you have to be thinking that far in advance. And it's something that you talk about often, which is we overestimate what we can do in 12 months and underestimate what we can do in 10 years. And I think it's really understanding that concept. I think that's part of what slowed me down as well, Jason. It was one of the genius things you said on the Color Money podcast when we interviewed you. I'm so focused on my goal setting for the next 12 months or the next quarter that there's so much pressure on speed. And if you understand the business that you want to build in 5 years from now, and then you chunk it down, I'm right on track with where I need to be. And that allows you more grace to understand. So agents, when you think about what you're building, you have to think out 3-5 years from now and then understand what needs to be happening in this month, what needs to be happening next month to continue to stay on track to be able to hit that goal in 36 months. Not just, hey, I need more leads. Let me go spend $5,000 a month on lead flow and I'll have 10 more closings a month for myself or my agents.
I love that. You segued to the podcast, man. I love your show. I'm a huge fan. Tell the people where they can find you and what the podcast is all about.
Yeah, the Color Money podcast. It's a really cool opportunity. We talk about leadership in there. We talk about journeys from some of the successful people inside of our community. We talk about tax strategies. We talk about wealth building strategies. We're trying to build, or we're on a mission of building inside of our community, talking about the things that often we don't talk about. We don't talk about estate plans in the Black community. We don't talk about flipping enough and highlighting some of the people that are doing the things at a high level. We have different pillars that we're teaching towards, that we're educating towards, and it's actionable information. It's not just storytelling. So definitely tune in the Color Money podcast. You can find it on all the different podcast sites. I'm on our website, on Facebook, all of the things. We really want to impact communities of color. We really want to impact our community, and we really want to impact agents and investors alike to be able to make more money, save more money, invest more money, pay less taxes, do all those fun things.
I love that, man. If you haven't listened to his show, please go listen to it. I'm giving it 2 thumbs up on the Abrams scale. It's fantastic, the work that y'all are doing.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Daniel, we want to invite you to the lightning round. We want to ask you a series of questions in fast succession. Will you play?
Yeah, of course. Let's go.
Weight training or cardio?
Oh, weight training for sure. I hate running.
All right, weight training, 7 a.m. or 7 p.m.?
7 a.m.
Okay, up and out in the morning. Love it. Most important meal of the day?
Dinner.
Favorite food?
Oh, probably pizza.
Stop the lightning round. It's so good.
It's so good.
So now, is it a thin crust? Is it a thick crust? Chicago style? Detroit? What's your favorite pizza?
Probably a thicker crust and definitely with pineapples on it.
Now that is controversial, Daniel. We're going to get mail.
That's controversial.
And you know what? I'll accept the mail. That's okay. All right. If there's a book, doesn't have to be a new one, is there a book that you've read other than Kiyosaki earlier in your life that's changed the way you think about the world? What one book is it?
So there's a really cool book called The Tools of Titans. And a lot of the way that I think now is not because I just meditate a lot or any of those things. I'm learning from giants. I have an incredible coach and mentor that I learn from constantly. And that book, Tools of Titans, it's not something that you need to read cover to cover. You literally randomize the page, find the person that you want to read about. And what I've learned is the hacks in these people's journeys that you can just implement. I meditate now solely because there was too many people inside of that book that had meditation and waking up early as part of their plan. All you got to do, success leaves clues, and just go rip off and duplicate from the people that are wildly successful and then see how it works for you. And that's how we've developed a lot of my stuff.
How do you meditate?
I meditate in the sauna with a guided meditation.
What app do you use?
It's called Synctuition.
Synctuition.
It's like I don't want to say 3D, but it's a different way that they do the sounds to help you kind of get yourself into trance. And that's the one place when things start going haywire. I know 9 times out of 10 when my brain's not on point, I've been traveling too much. I haven't been meditating enough. I need to get back into the sauna and sweat. So apparently when we go to the sauna, it like reduces your cortisol levels. So it's like super healthy for you by being in the sauna and then meditating there too.
100%. Friends, they call it heat bathing. And there is some science to back it up. Gary Keller told me that I need to heat bathe, and I do what that guy says. That's just how this goes. Daniel, last question. Favorite noise? When you hear a certain sound, it makes you happy. What sound is it?
My kids' laughter.
The best.
I mean, when I'm home by myself and they're not there and it's just silent, as much chaos as they provide in my life, I'm going to miss that as they continue to get older and get out of the house, and just hearing the arguing and the fighting, the laughter, anything regarding my kids.
So good. Friends, it's not getting any better than that. Daniel, thank you for everything that you're doing for the real estate industry, man. It's an honor to have you on the show.
My pleasure, man. Thanks for having me.
Well, there it is. And he makes it sound easy. First of all, I love this guy. I love the way that he's thinking about long-term clients. It isn't about how does he get them through the finish line of closing as fast as possible. It may have begun there, but it's evolved. Just like all things are adapting, so is the way that he thought about internet lead generation. It isn't about speed to lead, it's about speed to relationship, and that's a big idea. You know, when he unpacks it sequentially, it makes all the sense in the world. Number one, I'm gonna need a CRM. I have to have a place to put all the leads that I'm generating. Number two, it's time to turn on the leads. Go find the company or run the ads yourself. Number three, as soon as they come in, I gotta get face-to-face with these people, because there's no way to have a relationship unless we get face-to-face. Then I gotta have some unique value to give them. I can't just be purveying what every other real estate agent is purveying. And I think most importantly, the next step, be a consultant, not a salesperson. That's the highest and best use of every real estate agent. And then the final step is I never end a conversation without an agreement on what's gonna happen next with the client. Friends, I know it sounds simple. The question is, like Daniel, can you wake up every day for the next 5 years of your life and execute this play? Because if you can, you could be the recipient of absolute untold riches. And here's the truth. You're going to help a lot of people. Friends, go forth and do likewise. There it is. That wraps another episode. Friends, I don't know what you're taking out of this. I really don't. I'll tell you what I want you to be taking out of it, which is these are the people that are having tremendously big lives. And the reason it's happening is because they're setting up the models and systems to do just that. Gary Keller told me that leadership is teaching people how to think so that they do the things they need to do when they need to do them, so that ultimately they get the things they want when they want to have them. And that's what I want for you. You're all leaders, but it begins with leading ourselves. If you're enjoying this podcast, I want you to click the subscribe button anywhere that you get your podcasts. We want to be the voice in your head every single week, and every week we're dropping new content. We also send out a newsletter at the conclusion of every show to make sure that you get the highest points and the models and systems that were discussed. So if you want to sign up, I need your name and your email address. Head over to the millionaireagentpodcast.com. millionaireagentpodcast.com. Enter your name and your email address, and every week that newsletter will be in your box. Friends, you just went on a journey. I hope that what happens between now and the next time we meet is absolutely wonderful for you. Thanks for listening. I'll see you next week.
This podcast is for general informational purposes only. The views, thoughts, and opinions of the guest represent those of the guest and not KWRI and its affiliates, and should not be construed as financial, economic, legal, tax, or other advice. This podcast is provided without any warranty or guarantee of its accuracy, completeness, timeliness, or results from using the information. Warning. You must comply with the TCPA and any other federal, state, or local laws, including for B2B calls and texts. Never call or text a number on any do not call list, and do not use an auto dialer or artificial voice or pre-recorded messages without proper consent. Contact your attorney to ensure your compliance.